chaos, chaos. Speaker, it was our government that stood behind Ukraine and led the way in Europe. Everything he has said this afternoon is total nonsense. Obfuscation, avoiding the question. He doesn't have any answers. It's disgraceful. I asked him, Mr. Speaker, about the two-child benefit cap. He's talking about the Kremlin. He's saying everything he can to distract from the mess he is making of our economy. The OECD has downgraded growth for the next 2 years. He can't rule out tax rises. The police chiefs are saying they don't have the money they need to keep the public safe. Just as he's releasing more criminals onto the streets. His cabinet are squabbling with each other. They've said that they've lost control of the borders, but he still managed, Mr. Speaker, to find £30 billion to give away the Chagos Islands. This is total and utter chaos. 2 weeks ago, he was crowing about his historic trade deal and how he got 0% tariffs on steel. Now the steel industry will face 25% tariffs unless he does exactly what President Trump tells him to. It is chaos, chaos, chaos. And isn't the root of the chaos, Mr. Speaker, that it is about this Prime Minister, his decisions and his judgment?
I think it would be a great thing if the Russians invaded Britain. It couldn't get much worse than being under Starmer, could it?
Are you serious?
I am being serious.
Something big just broke in British politics, and it might end Keir Starmer's career for good. What began as a quiet morning in Westminster has exploded into a full-blown crisis, and it's dragging the Labour leader into the heart of a scandal that could topple not just his leadership, but the credibility of the entire party. This isn't just about bad headlines, it's about deep-rooted public anger, swirling financial allegations, and a sudden leak on live television that stunned the nation. In minutes, the internet caught fire, supporters turned to critics, and inside Downing Street, the panic is reportedly reaching fever pitch.
Get Starmer out! Get Starmer out! Get Starmer out! Get Starmer out! Get Starmer out!
The events unfolding right now could reshape the next election, redefine Labour's future, and force a national reckoning on what transparency and leadership really means. And if you thought this was just another political hiccup, think again. What's coming next may be the biggest reckoning British politics has seen in over a decade. Just when the Labour Party thought it could control the message, a hidden detail surfaced, and it struck right at the heart of the party's image. Investigators uncovered that the largest donation Labour has received this year didn't come from unions or grassroots supporters, it came from a hedge fund tucked away in the Cayman Islands.
True democracy is citizen-led. Politics needs an update. We demand a people's house. We demand a people's house. We are in crisis. We are in crisis. Our whole future is definitely.
That fund has financial stakes in industries Labour once vowed to hold accountable: fossil fuels, arms manufacturing and private health care. For a party that promises clean energy, disarmament and universal public services, this revelation hit like a punch to the gut. Labour didn't just take a donation, they accepted £4 million sterling, 0 pence, from a financial institution registered in a tax haven, one that profits from the very systems they campaign against. The timing couldn't be worse. Starmer has been making loud promises about integrity, fairness, and restoring faith in British politics. But with this donation out in the open, many voters now wonder, was it all just performance? No one expected the moment that changed everything to come from a routine political panel show. But that's exactly what happened.
If he wants to talk about councils, let's look at Liverpool or maybe Birmingham, where the rubbish is piling up so high, people vote Labour and all they get is trash, just like what he's saying at the dispatch box.
During a standard evening broadcast, a panel of journalists and political analysts sat discussing Labour's trajectory. Then, out of nowhere, a respected investigative reporter interrupted the conversation and dropped a bombshell. In his hand were documents, real ones, hard evidence, he claimed, of undeclared financial arrangements tied to Keir Starmer's past role as Director of Public Prosecutions. The studio went quiet. What was supposed to be another opinion-heavy segment suddenly turned into a breaking scandal live on national TV. The panel froze. Viewers watched in disbelief. Even the presenter was visibly thrown off as the documents were read aloud. Names, transactions, dates. Each detail suggested a deeper entanglement between Starmer and powerful private interests. The footage spread instantly. Within the hour, it had made its way across every major news outlet and social media platform, igniting a firestorm no one could put out. The internet didn't just react, it exploded. Within minutes, Twitter and TikTok were flooded with Starmergate posts, angry comments and viral memes mocking Labour's collapse. Influencers broke down the scandal, politicians scrambled, and public trust, already hanging by a thread, took another hit. Polls began to shift, and one question echoed everywhere: how much longer can Starmer hold on? Starmer rushed into a press conference hoping to contain the fallout, but instead of clarity, he delivered flat denials. And it didn't land. The public wasn't buying it, and neither were key figures inside Labour. Behind closed doors, the party was cracking. Some called for unity, others quietly plotted his exit. Trust was fading fast. Meanwhile, the Conservatives pounced. Tory MPs flooded the media, mocking Labour's collapse and using the scandal to distract from their own internal mess. Meanwhile, the smaller parties sharpened their strategy. The Liberal Democrats ramped up their calls for clean politics and reform. The Green Party doubled down on transparency and grassroots leadership. Both saw the public mood shift, and both began quietly preparing for a possible vacuum in the opposition. If Labour couldn't contain the fallout, they were ready to move in and capture the voters left behind. While political rivals jockeyed for position, ordinary voters were left reeling. Many weren't just shocked. They felt genuinely betrayed. In a country already grappling with rising costs, stagnant wages and a housing crisis, the idea that yet another leader might be compromised hit hard. For some, it felt like confirmation that no one in power was really on their side. Starmer had built his image on professionalism and calm leadership. But now, that image was cracking. The public watched closely, and what they saw didn't inspire confidence. Polls began to reflect it. Disapproval soared. Support from younger voters, once seen as a Labour stronghold, started to erode rapidly. People wanted answers. Instead, they got damage control. At a time when trust in the system is near its lowest point in decades, this scandal didn't just damage a party, it deepened a national crisis of faith in leadership itself. Now, everything hinges on what Keir Starmer does next. He's been boxed into a political corner with no easy way out. Denials won't be enough. The public has seen the documents, the media is circling, and inside his own party, support is thinning. This is where leadership is either proven or permanently broken. To survive, Starmer must do more than give speeches. He'll need to lay every card on the table, clear the air, answer the hard questions, and release the full details of his financial dealings. Anything less will only fuel more speculation and weaken his position further. But even full transparency carries risk. If more dirt emerges or his explanations fall flat, it could accelerate the calls for his resignation. And if he chooses to step down, he risks leaving behind a party with no clear direction, one already splintered and scrambling for leadership. The clock is ticking, and with each passing day, Starmer's options grow fewer. The polls paint a brutal picture. In the days following the leak, Labour's approval ratings have plunged. One national survey showed 62% of respondents believe Starmer should resign. Only 28% want him to stay. But the most worrying trend isn't just the numbers, it's who's walking away. Young voters, once the backbone of Labour's support, are turning their backs. Many see the party as out of touch, too cautious, or worse, just like the rest. Some are shifting their allegiance to the Greens or the Liberal Democrats. Others are checking out of politics altogether. Online, this shift is visible. TikTok clips criticise Labour's silence. Reddit threads call for a boycott. On Instagram, influencers who once backed Starmer are urging followers to look elsewhere. This isn't just a dip in popularity, it's a warning shot. And unless Labour can win back that trust quickly, they could be facing not just a leadership crisis, but an electoral collapse. Social media has become a political war zone, and Keir Starmer is losing ground fast. Hedge finer like Twitter and TikTok are now flooded with reaction videos, meme edits, and brutal side-by-side clips comparing Starmer's past promises to the current scandal. One viral TikTok video, splicing his recent press conference with older campaign footage, has already racked up over 3 million views. The message is clear. The internet doesn't forget, but it's not just satire. Grassroots activists, former Labour supporters and political influencers are using these platforms to demand accountability. Hashtags like "Where is Starmer?" and "Labour letdown" are driving record engagement. The pressure isn't coming from tabloids or rival parties. It's coming from ordinary people, phones in hand and followers in the thousands. And it cuts both ways. Alongside real outrage, misinformation is spreading fast. Conspiracy theories, doctored screenshots, and false claims are muddying the waters, making it harder for voters to separate facts from fiction. In the digital age, perception is power. And right now, Labour's image is taking blow after blow. Inside Labour headquarters, panic has set in. What was once a tightly managed leadership team is now scrambling to contain the fallout. Late-night meetings, conflicting strategies, and a revolving door of advisors have replaced the calm Starmer once projected. Sources say the atmosphere feels like a house divided. Some within the inner circle are urging Starmer to confront the scandal head-on, release more evidence, hold live Q&As, and try to reset the narrative. Others are quietly pushing for resignation, convinced that dragging this out could do more harm than good. The fractures run deep. MPs in marginal seats are growing nervous. Backbenchers are whispering about succession. And party strategists are now juggling two impossible tasks: saving a sinking ship while preparing for a potential leadership contest. The lack of unity is bleeding into the public view. For voters already on edge, Labour now looks rudderless. And in politics, perception often matters more than reality. Keir Starmer is staring down the biggest decision of his political life: stay and fight or walk away. If he digs in, he'll need to do more than defend himself. He'll have to deliver real answers, release hard evidence, and survive a level of public scrutiny few leaders could withstand. And even then, the risk remains. One misstep, one new leak, and the pressure could become unbearable. On the other hand, stepping down would be explosive. It could be seen as admitting guilt, instantly tarnishing his legacy. It could also trigger a messy leadership contest, further splintering an already fragile party and handing ammunition to Labour's enemies. Either way, the stakes are enormous. There's no script for this, no easy escape. Starmer's next move could reshape the Labour Party's future, or send it spiralling further into chaos. Keir Starmer is staring down the biggest decision of his political life. Stay and fight, or walk away. If he digs in, he'll need to do more than defend himself. He'll have to deliver real answers, release hard evidence, and survive a level of public scrutiny few leaders could withstand. And even then, the risk remains. One misstep, one new leak, and the pressure could become unbearable. On the other hand, stepping down would be explosive. It could be seen as admitting guilt, instantly tarnishing his legacy. It could also trigger a messy leadership contest, further splintering an already fragile party and handing ammunition to Labour's enemies. Either way, the stakes are enormous. There's no script for this, no easy escape. Starmer's next move could reshape the Labour Party's future or send it spiralling further into chaos. This isn't just the end of a news cycle. It could be the defining moment of Keir Starmer's leadership. His legacy now hangs in the balance, not for his policies or speeches, but for how he navigates this crisis. What he chooses in the coming days will either restore a measure of credibility or confirm the public's worst suspicions. For Labour, the path forward is equally uncertain. Does the party double down and back their leader? Or do they take the risk of tearing things down and starting fresh? Every option carries consequences and none guarantee recovery. More broadly, this scandal has exposed a deeper problem in British politics: the growing disconnect between the people and those who claim to represent them. It's not just about Starmer. It's about trust, transparency, and the need for leadership that answers to the public, not private donors. If more dirt emerges or his explanations fall flat, it could accelerate the calls for his resignation. And if he chooses to step down, he risks leaving behind a party with no clear direction. one already splintered and scrambling for leadership. The clock is ticking, and with each passing day, Starmer's options grow fewer. The polls paint a brutal picture. In the days following the leak, Labour's approval ratings have plunged. One national survey showed 62% of respondents believe Starmer should resign. Only 28% want him to stay. But the most worrying trend isn't just the numbers, it's who's walking away. Young voters, once the backbone of Labour's support, are turning their backs. Many see the party as out of touch, too cautious, or worse, just like the rest. Some are shifting their allegiance to the Greens or the Liberal Democrat. Others are checking out of politics altogether. Online, this shift is visible. TikTok clips criticise Labour's silence. Reddit threads call for a boycott. On Instagram, influencers who once backed Starmer are urging followers to look elsewhere. This isn't just a dip in popularity, it's a warning shot. And unless Labour can win back that trust quickly, they could be facing not just a leadership crisis, but an electoral collapse. Social media has become a political war zone, and Keir Starmer is losing ground fast. Whatever happens next, one thing is certain. Britain is watching closely. And the question that lingers is no longer just about one man, but about whether the country still believes that politics can serve the people at all. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, like and subscribe to the channel for more updates like this.